Bikers mock elderly man at market, until he shows his true power. In the heart of a bustling outdoor market, a notorious gang of bikers known as the Grizzly Boys ruled through fear and intimidation. Led by the fierce Wade Grizzly Turner, they reveled in terrorizing locals, stealing produce, and bullying shopkeepers into submission. The once vibrant market had become a shadow of its former self, with vendors and customers alike living in constant dread of the bikers' next move. Amidst the chaos and tension, an elderly man named Walter "Red" McAllister quietly made his way through the crowded stalls. With a bag of groceries in hand, he seemed to blend into the sea of faces, just another frail old shopper going about his day. Little did anyone know that beneath his unassuming exterior lay a lifetime of experience and skill. As Red navigated the market, his mind drifted back to his younger days when he served as a highly skilled special forces instructor. He had trained countless soldiers in combat and survival, molding them into formidable warriors ready to face any challenge. But those days were long behind him now, or so he thought. Lost in his memories, Red failed to notice the looming presence of Grizzly Turner and his gang approaching from behind. With a sudden shove, one of the bikers sent Red stumbling forward, his groceries scattering across the ground. The gang erupted in laughter as they surrounded the elderly man, their mocking jeers drawing the attention of nearby shoppers. Red slowly regained his balance, his eyes meeting Grizzly's gaze with a calm intensity that seemed to catch the biker off guard. In that moment, something shifted in the air, a silent challenge issued by an old man who refused to be intimidated. The stage was set for a confrontation that would change the market forever, as Red prepared to show the Grizzly Boys the true meaning of strength and honor. As the bikers' laughter echoed through the market, Red calmly bent down to gather his scattered groceries. Around him, a crowd began to form, drawn by the commotion and the sight of an elderly man being harassed by the notorious gang. Shopkeepers and customers alike watched with a mix of fear and morbid fascination, wondering how the situation would unfold. Grizzly Turner stepped forward, towering over Red with a sneer on his face. "Look at this old geezer," he taunted, his voice dripping with contempt. "Thinks he can just bump into one of my boys and get away with it." Red straightened up, his eyes locking with Grizzly's once more. "It was an accident," he said evenly. "I apologize for any inconvenience." The gang leader scoffed, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "You hear that, folks? The old man's sorry. Well, sorry ain't gonna cut it, Gramps. You need to learn some respect." The other bikers chuckled menacingly, closing in around Red like a pack of wolves. The tension in the air was palpable as the onlookers held their breath, waiting for the inevitable violence to erupt. But Red remained calm, his posture relaxed yet alert. He had faced far worse in his lifetime, and these bikers were nothing more than schoolyard bullies in comparison. Still, he knew that he couldn't let their actions go unchecked any longer. "Respect is earned, not demanded," Red said quietly, his words cutting through the tense silence like a knife. "And from what I've seen, you boys haven't earned a damn thing." Grizzly's face contorted with rage at Red's defiance. He took a threatening step forward, his fists clenched at his sides. "You've got a lot of nerve, old man," he growled. "And now you're gonna pay for it." As the biker raised his fist to strike, Red's instincts kicked in. With a speed and precision that belied his age, he prepared to defend himself and teach the Grizzly Boys a lesson they would never forget. In a blur of motion, Red sidestepped Grizzly's punch, his body moving with a fluid grace that caught everyone off guard. The biker's fist sailed harmlessly past Red's head as he spun around, using Grizzly's own momentum against him. With a swift and precise movement, Red delivered a sharp blow to the back of Grizzly's knee, sending the gang leader tumbling to the ground. The other bikers stared in shock, their mouths agape at the sight of their fearsome leader sprawled on the dusty market floor. For a moment, they seemed frozen in place, unable to comprehend what had just happened. Red stood tall, his eyes scanning the remaining gang members with a calm intensity. "Anyone else care to try their luck?" he asked, his voice steady and unwavering. One of the bikers, a hulking brute with a shaved head, let out a roar of anger and charged at Red, determined to avenge his fallen leader. But Red was ready for him. With a deft sidestep and a well-placed elbow, he sent the brute crashing into a nearby fruit stand, leaving him dazed and groaning amidst a pile of broken crates and bruised produce. The crowd watched in awe as Red systematically dismantled the gang, his every move a testament to his skill and experience. One by one, the bikers fell before him, their bravado and intimidation tactics rendered useless in the face of true strength and discipline. As the last biker hit the ground, Red turned to face the crowd, his expression calm and composed. "It's time for a change around here," he said, his voice carrying across the market. "These boys have ruled through fear for too long. It's up to all of us to stand up and take back what's ours." The shopkeepers and customers exchanged glances, a flicker of hope igniting in their eyes. With Red's words ringing in their ears, they began to realize that they had the power within themselves to create a better future. In the aftermath of the confrontation, a hush fell over the market as the onlookers processed what they had just witnessed. Red stood amidst the fallen bikers, his presence commanding respect and admiration from those who had once feared the gang's reign of terror. Slowly, a murmur began to spread through the crowd. Whispers of awe and gratitude filled the air as people marveled at Red's skill and courage. They had lived under the shadow of the bikers for so long that they had almost forgotten what it felt like to have someone stand up for them, to have a champion in their midst. As Red surveyed the scene before him, he knew that his work was far from over. The bikers may have been subdued for now, but their influence had taken root in the very fabric of the community. It would take time and effort to heal the wounds they had inflicted and rebuild the trust that had been eroded over the years. Grizzly Turner stirred from his position on the ground, his eyes narrowing as he glared up at Red. "This ain't over, old man," he spat, his voice laced with venom. "You think you can just waltz in here and change everything? You've got no idea who you're messing with." Red met Grizzly's gaze with unwavering resolve. "I know exactly who I'm dealing with," he replied calmly. "A bunch of cowards who prey on the weak because they're too afraid to face their own shortcomings. But that ends today. This market, these people, they deserve better than what you've given them." With those words, Red turned his back on Grizzly and the fallen gang members. He made his way through the crowd, accepting the grateful nods and heartfelt thanks from those he passed. As he walked, he knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but he was determined to see it through. The market had found its catalyst for change, and Red would be there every step of the way to guide them towards a brighter future. In the days that followed Red's confrontation with the Grizzly Boys, a newfound sense of unity and purpose began to take hold in the market. The once fearful shopkeepers and customers now walked with their heads held high, emboldened by the knowledge that they had someone in their corner, a guardian who would stand up for what was right. Red became a regular fixture at the market, his presence a reassuring constant amidst the bustling stalls and lively chatter. He took the time to get to know the vendors and their families, listening to their stories and offering guidance when needed. Many of the younger members of the community began to look up to him as a mentor, eager to learn from his wisdom and experience. Despite the positive changes, Red knew that the bikers were far from finished. Grizzly Turner and his gang had retreated to lick their wounds, but their pride and anger simmered just beneath the surface. Red understood that they would be back, seeking revenge and determined to reassert their dominance over the market. To prepare for the inevitable confrontation, Red began to train a select group of volunteers from the community. He taught them the basics of self-defense and strategy, emphasizing the importance of working together as a team. The training sessions became a source of camaraderie and empowerment, with participants forging bonds that extended far beyond the market's boundaries. As the weeks passed, the market continued to thrive under Red's guidance. New vendors arrived, drawn by the promise of a safe and supportive environment. The once desolate stalls now overflowed with fresh produce, handcrafted goods, and a renewed sense of vitality. But even as the community celebrated its newfound strength, Red remained vigilant. He knew that the true test of their resilience would come when the Grizzly Boys returned, ready to reclaim what they believed was rightfully theirs. With his training and the unwavering support of the market behind him, Red prepared to face the coming storm head-on. As the market continued to flourish, Red found himself becoming more deeply involved in the lives of those around him. He became a confidant and advisor to many, offering guidance on everything from personal struggles to business decisions. His wisdom and compassion earned him the respect and admiration of the entire community. One day, As Red was helping a young vendor named Emily set up her stall, he noticed a commotion at the edge of the market. A group of bikers, led by a visibly agitated Grizzly Turner, had arrived, their engines revving menacingly. The sight of the gang sent a ripple of unease through the crowd, but Red remained calm and collected. Grizzly dismounted his bike and strode towards Red, his eyes flashing with barely contained rage. "You think you've won, old man?" he snarled, his voice dripping with venom. "You think you can just take what's ours and get away with it?" Red met Grizzly's gaze evenly, his expression unreadable. "This market doesn't belong to you or anyone else," he replied, his voice steady and unwavering. "It belongs to the people who work hard every day to make it thrive. And they've made it clear that they won't be intimidated anymore." Grizzly let out a harsh laugh, his hand reaching for the knife at his belt. "We'll see about that," he growled, taking a step forward. But before he could make another move, Emily stepped in front of Red, her eyes blazing with determination. "You're not welcome here," she said firmly, her voice carrying across the market. "We won't let you bully us anymore." One by one, other vendors and customers joined Emily, forming a wall of solidarity between Red and the bikers. The message was clear: the market stood together, united in their resolve to protect what they had built. Faced with the unyielding strength of the community, Grizzly hesitated. For the first time, he saw the true power that Red had unleashed, not through violence, but through the unbreakable bonds of a united people. As the standoff between the market and the Grizzly boys intensified, Red knew that the moment of truth had arrived. He stepped forward, placing a reassuring hand on Emily's shoulder as he addressed the gang leader directly. "Grizzly," he began, his voice calm and measured, "I understand your anger and your desire for control. But you have to realize that true power doesn't come from intimidation or violence. It comes from the strength of a community working together towards a common goal." Grizzly scoffed, his eyes narrowing as he glared at Red. "You think you can lecture me about power, old man?" he spat. "I've built my entire life on taking what I want and crushing anyone who gets in my way." Red shook his head, a flicker of sadness crossing his features. "That's not power, Grizzly. That's fear masquerading as strength. And it will never bring you the respect or fulfillment you seek." The biker's grip on his knife tightened, his knuckles turning white with tension. For a moment, it seemed as though he might lash out, unleashing his rage upon the gathered crowd. But something in Red's words seemed to give him pause. "You have a choice, Grizzly," Red continued, his voice softening. "You can continue down this path of destruction and isolation, or you can choose to be part of something greater. This community is willing to forgive and welcome you, but only if you're willing to change." Grizzly looked around at the faces of the vendors and customers, seeing the determination and unity in their eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt a flicker of doubt, a realization that perhaps there was more to life than the brutal code he had lived by for so long. As the tense silence stretched on, Red extended his hand towards Grizzly, a simple gesture of peace and understanding. The biker hesitated for a long moment before slowly, almost imperceptibly, lowering his knife. The first step towards change had been taken. In the wake of the confrontation, an uneasy truce settled over the market. Grizzly and his gang retreated, their departure marked by a sense of uncertainty and confusion. The community, while relieved by the temporary respite, knew that the true test of their newfound strength was yet to come. Red, ever the wise mentor, recognized the need to capitalize on the momentum they had gained. He called a meeting of the market's vendors and regular customers, inviting them to share their ideas and concerns for the future. As the group gathered in the heart of the market, Red stood before them, his eyes shining with pride and determination. "You've all shown incredible courage and unity in the face of adversity," he began, his voice carrying across the assembled crowd. "But our work is far from over. We must continue to build upon the foundation we've laid and create a market that serves as a beacon of hope and resilience for our entire community." The meeting quickly became a lively discussion, with ideas and suggestions flowing freely. Some proposed organizing regular events to bring the community together, while others suggested implementing a system of mutual support and cooperation among the vendors. Throughout the discussion, Red listened intently, offering guidance and encouragement when needed. He emphasized the importance of small acts of kindness and the power of everyday choices in shaping the market's future. As the meeting drew to a close, a sense of purpose and excitement filled the air. The vendors and customers left with renewed determination, eager to put their plans into action and continue building a stronger, more united community. In the days and weeks that followed, the market began to transform. Colorful banners and vibrant displays adorned the stalls, while the sounds of laughter and friendly conversation filled the air. The once tense atmosphere gave way to a spirit of camaraderie and shared purpose, as the community worked together to create a space that truly belonged to them all. As the market continued to thrive under the guidance of Red and the newly empowered community, word of their success began to spread beyond the confines of the town. Visitors from neighboring communities started to arrive, drawn by the tales of a market that had overcome adversity and emerged stronger than ever. Among these visitors was a journalist named Sarah, who had heard whispers of the market's transformation and the mysterious old man who had catalyzed the change. Intrigued by the story, she set out to interview Red and learn more about the events that had unfolded. Red, ever the humble and private individual, was initially reluctant to share his story. But as he spoke with Sarah, he realized that his experiences could serve as a source of inspiration for others facing similar challenges. Over the course of several interviews, Red shared his past as a special forces instructor and the lessons he had learned about true strength, resilience, and the power of community. He spoke of the importance of standing up for what was right, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Sarah listened intently, her pen flying across the pages of her notebook as she documented Red's words. She marveled at the depth of his wisdom and the impact he had made on the lives of those around him. As the interviews drew to a close, Sarah knew that she had stumbled upon a story that needed to be told. With Red's blessing, she began to craft an article that would share the market's tale of transformation with the world. The article, when published, quickly gained traction, spreading like wildfire across social media and news outlets. People from all walks of life found inspiration in the story of Red and the market's triumph over adversity. The article sparked conversations about the power of community, the importance of standing up for what is right, and the potential for change that lies within each individual. As the story spread, the market became a symbol of hope and resilience, attracting even more visitors from far and wide. The once struggling stalls now bustled with activity, as people came not only to purchase goods but also to experience the unique atmosphere of unity and purpose that permeated the market. Red, though somewhat overwhelmed by the sudden attention, remained focused on his mission of guiding and supporting the community. He continued to offer his wisdom and encouragement to those who sought his counsel, always emphasizing the importance of working together towards a common goal. The Grizzly Boys, too, found themselves affected by the changing tides. Some, inspired by the market's transformation, began to question their own choices and the path they had chosen. A few even approached Red, seeking guidance on how to turn their lives around and become part of something greater. Though the road ahead was sure to be filled with challenges, the market community faced the future with a renewed sense of hope and determination. They had learned that true strength lay not in intimidation or violence, but in the unbreakable bonds of unity and the power of small acts of kindness. As Red looked out over the thriving market, he knew that his work was far from finished. There would always be obstacles to overcome and new challenges to face. But with the support of the community he had helped to build, he knew that anything was possible. Together, they would continue to grow, to learn, and to inspire others, one small act of kindness at a time. The story of Red and the market had become more than just a local legend. It was a testament to the indomitable spirit of the human heart and the transformative power of hope. As the market's reputation grew, so too did the sense of responsibility among its members. They knew that their success was not just a matter of personal achievement, but a reflection of the values and ideals they had come to embody. Red, ever the guiding light, encouraged the community to think beyond the confines of the market and consider how they could make a difference in the wider world. He spoke of the importance of leading by example and showing others the power of compassion and unity. Inspired by Red's words, the market community began to reach out to other neighborhoods and towns, sharing their story and offering support to those facing similar challenges. They organized workshops and events, teaching others the skills and strategies they had learned in their own journey of transformation. One such event brought together community leaders from across the region, all eager to learn from the market's success. As Red addressed the gathered crowd, he spoke not only of the challenges they had faced but also of the incredible potential that lay within each and every one of them. Change, he said, his voice filled with conviction, is not something that happens overnight. It is the result of countless small decisions, made day after day, to choose hope over fear, compassion over indifference, and unity over division. The audience listened intently, many nodding in agreement as they recognized the truth in Red's words. They left the event with a renewed sense of purpose, determined to take the lessons they had learned and apply them to their own communities. Back at the market, the sense of pride and accomplishment was palpable. The once struggling vendors now thrived, their stalls overflowing with the fruits of their labor. But more than that, they had become a family, bound together by the shared experience of overcoming adversity and building something truly special. As the sun set over the market, casting a warm glow over the bustling stalls and laughter-filled streets, Red knew that his work here was far from over. There would always be new challenges to face, new opportunities to grow. But with the strength of the community behind him, he knew that anything was possible. As the market entered a new chapter, Red knew that it was time to address the lingering presence of the Grizzly Boys. Though their influence had diminished, the gang still held on to a sliver of their former power, lurking at the edges of the community and threatening to disrupt the hard-won peace. Red, however, had a plan. Rather than resorting to confrontation or violence, he sought to engage the gang in a different way, through compassion and understanding. He reached out to Grizzly Turner, inviting him to a private meeting at the heart of the market. Grizzly, wary but intrigued, accepted the invitation. As he sat across from Red, the old man's eyes shone with a mix of empathy and determination. Grizzly, Red began, his voice soft but firm, I know you've been through a lot. You've carried the weight of your past for far too long, and it's time to let it go. The biker leader scoffed, his defenses rising. You don't know anything about me, old man. You think a few pretty words can change who I am? Red leaned forward, his gaze unwavering. I know that deep down, you're looking for something more than the life you've been living. You've seen the power of this community, the strength that comes from working together towards a common goal. And I believe that you have the potential to be a part of that. Grizzly fell silent, his eyes searching Red's face for any sign of deception or manipulation. But all he found was genuine compassion and a glimmer of hope. As the conversation unfolded, Red shared his own story, the challenges he had faced, the lessons he had learned, and the transformative power of forgiveness. Grizzly listened, his hardened exterior slowly cracking as he began to see a glimmer of a different future. By the end of the meeting, a seed had been planted. Grizzly left with a newfound sense of purpose, a determination to make amends for his past and become a force for good in the community he had once terrorized. In the weeks that followed, the market community watched in awe as Grizzly Turner and his gang began to change. It started with small gestures, a helping hand offered to a struggling vendor, a kind word shared with a passing customer. But as time passed, these small acts of kindness began to grow, spreading like ripples in a pond. Grizzly, once the embodiment of fear and intimidation, now worked alongside the very people he had terrorized. He used his strength and influence to protect the market, standing up to those who would seek to disrupt the peace and harmony that had been so hard-won. The other members of the Grizzly Boys, inspired by their leader's transformation, began to follow suit. They attended Red's training sessions, learning the ways of self-defense and community building. They volunteered their time and energy to help improve the market, repairing stalls, organizing events, and mentoring the younger generation. As the once feared gang became an integral part of the market community, the atmosphere of the place began to shift. The tension and unease that had once hung heavy in the air gave way to a sense of unity and shared purpose. The market became not just a place of commerce, but a hub of connection and growth, a testament to the power of second chances and the resilience of the human spirit. Red watched these changes with a mix of pride and humility. He knew that his role in the market's transformation had been significant, but he also recognized that the true power lay within the community itself. They had chosen to embrace change, to open their hearts and minds to the possibility of a better future. As he looked out over the thriving market, Red felt a sense of peace wash over him. He knew that his journey was far from over, that there would always be new challenges to face and new opportunities for growth. But he also knew that he had found his true calling, to be a guide, a mentor, and a beacon of hope for all those who sought to build a better world, one small act of kindness at a time. As the market continued to thrive and grow, Red knew that it was time to pass the torch to the next generation of leaders. He had always believed that true strength lay in the ability to empower others, to help them discover their own potential and work together towards a common goal. One of the most promising of these new leaders was Emily, the young vendor who had first stood up to the Grizzly Boys all those months ago. Under Red's guidance, she had blossomed into a confident and compassionate leader, her natural charisma and dedication inspiring those around her. Red began to work closely with Emily, sharing his wisdom and experience as he helped her take on more responsibility within the market community. He taught her the importance of listening, of understanding the needs and concerns of those she sought to lead. He showed her how to navigate challenges with grace and determination, always keeping the well-being of the community at the forefront of her mind. As Emily grew into her new role, Red found himself reflecting on his own journey. He thought back to the moment he had first stepped into the market, a quiet and unassuming figure amidst the chaos and fear. He had never sought out leadership or recognition, but rather had simply done what he felt was right, what was necessary to protect and uplift those around him. And now, as he watched Emily and the other young leaders take the reins, he knew that his work had been worthwhile. He had helped to create something truly special, a community built on the foundations of compassion, resilience, and hope. As the sun began to set on another day at the market, Red took a moment to sit back and observe the hustle and bustle around him. The once empty stalls now overflowed with life and laughter, the once fearful faces now shining with joy and purpose. It was a sight that filled his heart with warmth and gratitude, a reminder of the incredible power of the human spirit to overcome even the darkest of challenges. As the years passed, the market continued to serve as a beacon of hope and inspiration for the surrounding communities. The story of Red and the transformation he had helped to bring about became a legend, passed down from generation to generation as a testament to the power of compassion and unity. Red, though he never sought the spotlight, became a revered figure, his wisdom and guidance sought out by those facing challenges of their own. He continued to mentor and support the market's leaders, always encouraging them to lead with empathy and to trust in the strength of their community. Even as he grew older, Red's spirit never wavered. He remained a constant presence at the market, his gentle smile and kind words a source of comfort and encouragement to all who crossed his path. And though his physical strength may have diminished with time, his inner strength, the strength of his character and his unwavering commitment to his values, only seemed to grow. As Red sat on a bench at the edge of the market, watching the vibrant scene before him, he felt a sense of deep contentment wash over him. He had lived a life of purpose, a life dedicated to serving others and making the world a better place. And though he knew that his time on this earth was drawing to a close, he also knew that his legacy would live on, carried forward by the countless lives he had touched and the community he had helped to build. With a soft smile, Red closed his eyes, letting the sounds and sensations of the market wash over him. The laughter of children, the friendly chatter of vendors, the warm breeze carrying the scent of fresh produce and baked goods, all of it a testament to the incredible journey he had been a part of. And as he sat there, surrounded by the love and gratitude of the community he had served so faithfully, Red knew that he had found his true home, his true calling. For in the end, it was not the battles he had fought or the accolades he had received that mattered most, but rather the lives he had touched, the hearts he had opened, and the hope he had helped to kindle in the face of even the darkest of times.